All right. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am yours truly, James Hayes Jr., health interventionist and intervention specialist here at Man to Man. And I'm here with a very special guest. But first, I'm going to go to Brother Terrence Turner, let him introduce himself, and then we'll go to our special guest.
Awesome. Good afternoon. This is Terrence Turner, Data Quality Manager for Man to Man Fatherhood. Glad to be here.
All right. And we are here with Officer Sammy Crosland, Lieutenant Sammy Crosland of the Bennettsville Police Department. How about it, sir?
Good afternoon, everybody. How y'all doing? Sammy Crosland, Lieutenant for the Bennettsville Police Department. Glad to be here with Man to Man. Awesome guys.
And we appreciate you coming by today. Appreciate you dropping in. We're talking about conflict resolution and how to resolve conflicts. And we know that there are a lot of conflicts that happen in the home, conflicts that happen at school. And I just want to talk a little bit about communication first when it comes to resolving conflicts, so that we don't have to call you to come in and be the mediator, right? So, what would you suggest? Say if there's some issues going on at home, you have husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, they're going through some issues at home. How would you suggest that we handle that conflict? Keep it from us calling or them calling you.
Well, you want to intervene as much as possible if you have a good relationship with the husband or the wife, or both. You want to separate them. Maybe have like somebody talk to the husband, somebody talk to the wife, and see what the problem is. But she may have different points than what the husband has. The husband has some different wife. It's important to find out what the main issue is. Concentrate on that, find that problem, that solely to see, bring them back together and say, hey, look, y'all saying y'all got this going on. Work on this and see where that things y'all like.
So, because I've heard, and I'm not as familiar with the law as you are, but if the police are called for a domestic violence situation, I've heard that one person must go to jail.
If it's enough evidence to show if the person is primary aggressor to where the young ladies in fear of life or the young ladies in fear of life to the place to that establish the grounds for that, say, he did this more than the act of putting her in fear of life. He's the primary aggressor, guess what? Vice versa with lady. If she does something with the man in fear, she's angry, more aggressive than she. That's how the law is.
Okay. So, Terrence, now, of course, you guys look at it from two different standpoints. You look at it from, of course, the police standpoint. You look at it from, say, a fatherhood standpoint, standpoint of maybe the counseling side of it. So, if there's a conflict going on now, how would you suggest that they deal with that situation?
I would suggest actually taking the time out to sit back and listen and find out what is going on, what is really the cause. And like we say, don't try to focus on being right. Okay. Talk to that person. Listen from a point of understanding, not listening just to hear, right? So listening to respond, like you said. Listen to hear the heart of what that person is saying. And not listen to just respond and bring the anger down. Right? So you want to try to de-escalate as much as possible. Right? Because two people, you can talk at somebody all day. But you got to have a conversation about it. You got to actually talk to somebody, not yell. Because when you start yelling, your voice starts getting higher. Your face has already come up, right? So you got to realize this is my partner. This is the mother or father of my child. We have a child together, or what have you. You guys are in a relationship. You want to keep it healthy, right? So you got to realize that person is not your enemy, right? You're trying to do life with that person. So take the time out. Like, okay, you may have to sacrifice. You may have to humble yourself. Be like, okay, even if that person is wrong, but if you need to be the bigger person at that time to de-escalate the matter, you have to do that. So number one, take the time to listen. Take the time to bring the anger down, de-escalate it, and have a conversation with another human being.
That'll prevent us from calling Lieutenant Cross.
Right, absolutely. I think it can minimize that chance.
And one of the terms that we use is called the monkey ping pong.
Right.
funky ping pong is the need to hit back.
Mm.
You know, we always want to get back. And Lieutenant Crosland, I know you can talk to us from the I guess the domestic violence standpoint, the need to hit back or retaliation, especially in a relationship where two people are going at each other, and one person feels the need to just keep hitting back. Where can that lead to?
It can lead to a lot of negative things. That's why when we go to domestic violence call, we always separate. Never talk to everybody in the room. He may say something that she may not disagree with, and she'll get loud. Then she'll say something that he may not agree with, then he'll get loud. So we're not getting over. So we separate everybody to get your side, and also get her side. So look back. I don't know. But with that hit back, because he may have been mad at something that she didn't do, and then he want to hit back at her to get her mad. Then she gets mad. Like I said, if the attitude and the anger rises, then she'll say something to get him mad, and then to the hit back, then he'll get mad. And it's like, we resolve that. We don't have to separate. We got to have understanding when we talk to people. We have understanding. We have to listen. Our primary job is to listen and understand, but the evidence is laid out. You see, like, any kind of ball to it, like that, determine it. Just because they might have argument over breath. And I'm working over looking at somebody. Still have to listen. I have to sell how well. We have right to go on my phone. Not saying should have, but that man is a great phone.
I want to ask you 10 questions. You said you have 24 years of service. Just mention something about it, something small as whatever, or with that phone. How many instances have you seen that thing was so small that it kind of blew up and it got way out?
Out of my years of service with the Bennettsville for my smallest escalate to the biggest conflicts. I've seen stuff that blew my mind to like, that happened just like that. But it happened. And yeah, only thing you do is slow down and talk. Like the wife asked the husband, where you been at all? Only thing you do is say, I was out. You feel like still talking. Say where you was. But she already gonna assume we was. Just give her answer so it won't go there. Yeah. Some of them small, we can resolve it. If somebody goes somewhere and cool off, we don't want to take them. If it's not to the point where we have to take somebody, if they just go to a family house, come back and work on, we'll tell them, hey, y'all work something else. If it's nothing bad where put his hand on her, she put his hand on her, yeah, go something cool off. Back then, y'all work on. But it's to the point where we look around, it's tore up and blood here and choke here and kids screaming. I think it's some got to get.
And you know, I think the saddest thing is when it comes to conflict resolution, there are kids involved. And almost all is, and this is taking place in front of the children. Right? And so if you got the children, now they're gonna have to choose a side. Mama's side and dad's side. Right? And so now they're watching this violent behavior. That's waking up that rage in them. It may not be now, but one day that rage is gonna wake up inside of them because they witnessed it, they saw it, and they're still angry about it. Because we can all remember something that happened when we were kids, and we can remember just like that. Somebody. And if we ain't in the right mindset, that rage will wake up. Wake up. And so I just want to encourage all the adults out there, you know, be mindful when you have conflict. A conversation ain't never hurt nobody. You know, and if you two adult people, two grown people, I don't understand why you can't sit down and say, okay, let's talk. I'm angry, you angry, that's cool, but we need to talk because it could go somewhere else, and we don't want it to go there. Right. And so we have what we call bad mouthing. And bad mouthing is putting the other person down because of his or her opinions. We we gotta be careful how we talk.
Yeah.
Because one thing that I love to remind people, because I'm a debater. I like to debate. Okay, I'll be honest. But I love to remind people, listen, you gotta understand, I'm grown.
Right.
So if I don't disrespect you just because I say what you don't like,
that's good.
It gives you no reason to disrespect me. And we see it all the time on social media. Yeah. And so when it comes to bad mouthing, you guys both can give an example of some times when somebody put another person down because of their own opinion.
I think that's good that you brought that out, because you're not going to agree with everybody about everything anyway. But like you were saying, you are entitled to your opinion. Whether I agree or not, that's my business, but that's your opinion. And that don't mean I have to tell you or say something negative to you. But think of something where you have a opinion. You are entitled to that. Respect that person for having that opinion. But then, if you respect it, I disagree. Even if I disagree, we still can be conversation, we still can shake hands and talk and go out.
And for me, I never understood that part of why can't we just disagree? Why I gotta agree with you for us to be friends, for us to continue communicating? Like, if I got a difference of opinion, why can't we just disagree?
That's right.
I never understood that.
Yeah, I agree too. We can't disagree on certain things. We're not gonna agree with everything. I can't make you agree with me because you have different fit. If we sit here and talk about our presidents, President Obama, President Trump, that's a conversation between two, and we would disagree on something. Yeah, it's gonna go back and forth, but it's not. It shouldn't be to the point where I end my friendship because disagree on something I said about the president, and same vice versa. So something small like that, small conversation about the president, or anything else. We can disagree about cars if you want to. Because I'm a Ford man, so if you say and say, like Mercedes Benz or something, I like them too, but can I afford that? No. But then you'll sit here and say something against Ford. That's something that agree and disagree.
Right.
We'll leave it right there and be done with it.
Right. But
they can do it.
I think you have to look at it from a lens of value, right? So just because you disagree with me doesn't mean I value in the list of you're not a valuable person. You see what I'm saying? Still, that person has value, has worth. You have a mind, have intellect, things of that nature. Okay, but you still, if you look at that person as a human being that has a right, a God-given right to disagree, but that doesn't diminish their value, right? So I think when you look at it from that person's value, they have insight, they have input, and we all have blind spots. We all have things where we don't have the correct information, or may not have enough information, right? But knowing, okay, I may be looking at this thing totally, that person can bring some insight or a thought process that I never even thought about.
That's true. That's true.
So having that mindset to be like, okay, being open to have a conversation, right? I think that's key.
You know what? You just brought up something. You just made me think about something, right? A lot of people, and I'll say a lot, I won't say most, I'll say a lot, really don't know how to have a conversation because they never sat in a setting where people just had a regular conversation and they were able to disagree but still remain friends. Mm-hmm. A lot of people, if you disagree with me, that means it's an argument because it speaks something else deeper inside of them that says, hey, you may be against me or you're not agreeing with me or you're speaking down on me because we're not on the same page. Like, they may have grown up with that, maybe bullied in school or had family members who fought and just never got along. It could be all kinds of issues.
True.
And so when you say, hey, let's have a conversation, but we're not going to agree with each other, some people don't know how to do that without raising that level of energy.
Right.
And say, look, man, you ain't agreeing with me, so we got to fight, we got to argue, we got to be against one another because you ain't agreeing with me.
And I think that comes, if your mind is already made up about something, it's going to be hard to have a conversation.
Right.
So I really believe you got to be open to want to have that dialogue, that conversation, and don't bring your stuff into it. Right? Just have that open and honest conversation.
And I want to bring up something else. We know the times we're living in. Right? It's we got people who are going back and forth about COVID-19. There's a lot of arguments about that. It's escalating. We got people going back and forth about Black Lives Matter, and that's escalating. Then you have people mad at the police. wanting to defund the police.
True.
That's escalating.
True.
And my issue with all of it, if you just put it all together, is where is the conflict resolution?
Exactly.
Everybody's mad. Everybody's yelling. Some people say it's real. Some people say it's fake. I'm mad at you. You mad at me. But where is the conflict resolution? And that's my issue. Like, can we agree to disagree? But can we sit at the table and at least have a conversation? Because it's so bad now that you can't even sit at the table with certain leaders because people don't like the leaders. So you can't even sit at the table and have a conversation with them. And I'm asking myself, if we don't have conflict resolution with that, ain't no way we got conflict resolution at home. Wow. Because if you can't talk to a stranger and have a conversation with a stranger and conflict resolution with a stranger, then how are you going to have conflict resolution at home? So it speaks to the volume of the balance that's taking place today. You look at the homes that are being broken apart. You understand why 50% of marriages is done work out. We can see it because there's nobody's conflict resolution. That's it.
You do it at home. Do it for what you can. Wow, that makes sense.
And I often ask questions. It's kind of like put everything together, right? I tell people you have to break stuff down. I can't be mad at you for what another police officer. You can't be mad at me for what another citizen did. You might have just had the worst person ever in your life experience right before you saw me.
True.
I ain't got nothing.
No. Now can you take it out on you? Look,
exactly.
They do it.
So it kind of breaks my heart a little bit when we're not able to have this conflict resolution on a daily basis. I can't point the finger at you for something that happened. And so I know that if it's happening out in the world, it's happening. And not only are the couples suffering, but it's the children. It's the children. It's the children that suffer. And when it is when the elephants fight, who suffers? The ground.
That's right. That's good. I think another piece of that is too, like you were saying, have a term called modeling. So as those children are watching and other nuggets, you guys got to have conflict. Try not to do it in front of the children. Sure. Okay. Wait later on. Make sure the children know it didn't happen. Because whatever you model, that child will demonstrate as well. So they are learning from you. So they may think it's right, but daddy is screaming at mama, put his hands on mama. You know what I'm saying? They don't learn that because that's what they've been surrounded with. That is their culture, that is their environment. They don't model exactly what you said. So we're going to try not to have those conversations, those tough kind of conversations from the child.
I agree.
So I want to kind of take a left turn real quick. We're talking about conflict resolution. What can we do to stop bullying? Okay, I took a deep breath at the same time.
That's a good one. That's a challenge. It's a real challenge.
It is. Yeah. Give me out. In the home you may have. True. Yeah. Recent. Older brother may bully the middle child. No child. They both be bullied back. But two bigger brothers. So in his mind, he doesn't see it as a problem with those for the child. On those point bringing all the problem out there. And so go deeper. Older brother and middle baby, younger brother. Follow his action. Not saying that he knew it was I'm angry because I get bullied home somebody else. Maybe he's not young enough to understand how that's going to affect his job. And I guess starting at the home, but a lot of it is maybe the type of clothes the child wears or not popular, or smarter than everybody else. Then that causes a problem. Child, social status. It's like child can open up to the parents, tell you people in school, but they don't understand it. As y'all both know, we had cases with children until we have to educate our children about the child not getting bullied at school. Somebody does this. I go out and take it. Communicate with that child to let them know how important it is to say, hey, bullying is what you do. If you don't get the education, they need to know what it is. They can live their own way. Either it's going to be fighting back, or they can take it, or they're going to do something themselves called harm them. Like you said, we need to educate the child. Well, causes 5, 6, 7, 8. Still getting mentioned. Somebody doing this, just tell me. See, communication, education, about that's because we don't educate them to help them identify what they're dealing with or bullying. Like I gave a scenario about children. I might have always brought my bully little child, I might put the paper they just go down. What was that for him? But I might not understand how this affects.
And I say this too, even with the parents. There are some parents who are not going to tolerate the child get bullied. And so I think the kids also need to be educated, and the other parents need to be educated as well. Listen, you bully some kids, they care. The kid might take the bullet, but the parents ain't gonna take it. And I mean, you can out, you ain't nobody the best person. Okay? And some parents just like, look, I'm not picking my child because maybe they were bullied. And so now they're like, I understand what it's like to be bullied. And my child.
Yeah, that's good though. I think it comes down to having those conversations, like I'm saying, and teach education, conversation that is paramount, and you got to really be involved in what's going on with your child, and take time out to ask them questions. You know, don't assume, you know, that you know. Really talk to them and have those difficult conversations. Be like, and create a safe space for them to tell you what's really going on. And you know, for the parents that been bullied and not taking it, again, back to conversation education. And I think, and letting them know, okay, no, it's not okay to be bullied, but then okay, it's not. I got to handle a certain type of right. So we want to make sure that everybody's educated, all, and make sure everybody's safe.
And I'll say this: I remember in high school, I remember kids would get picked on for certain. Didn't wear the right shoes, and shoes were dirty. Didn't wear the coolest clothes, and clothes cut something. Like you would get picked on for any little thing.
Right.
But when I got to college, and I'm around all these other different cities and different towns and people from other states, and everybody dressed differently, I realized how stupid it was for kids to pick on other kids in high school because everybody in college dressed different, and it was all accepted. Right. Everything was accepted. If you walked out of your dormitory with some busted up shoes and some cut up jeans, it was accepted because people just assumed that's how you dress when you come from. And I remember thinking to myself, how stupid was it in high school when people pick on people based on how they dress? The unfortunate thing is, I had to get to college to realize that. Now, I was never a bully. I always protected the kids from being bullied. But I just thought about, like, I mean, you just can't, that's just terrible. I'm like, what sense does that make, right? Yeah. So, and in conflict resolution, we got this term we call defensive flipping, which occurs when one partner who is being questioned or told that she has made a mistake will flip the script. How many people know that?
Oh my. Yeah.
Well,
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Let's talk about flipping the script.
Well, when I hear that term, I think one of the words that comes to my mind is like personal responsibility, right? Instead of, realizing, we had a conversation off camp, and he was talking about somebody committed a crime, right? But they commit the crime and then run. So you were bold enough to do the act, but then when the authorities come, you run. So where's that courage? Where's that? Well, I'm bad at now, so now. So you put the script back saying, okay, I'm bad enough to steal something, but then when I'm caught, I run. So now you change it. So instead of taking that personal responsibility, like, okay, yeah, I got caught, I stole, I did. No, you don't want to take responsibility. You don't want to take the consequence behind certain actions that you have. So even like in conflict resolution and flip the script, say for instance, you might have stayed out all night, or you might have did something you were supposed to do, or what happened, or you forgot to pay a bill or something like that. The wife says something to you, instead of like, you know what, I was wrong, I forgot that, forgive me, I'm gonna fix it. You will take it and say, well, you didn't cook every day last week, or you didn't wash these clothes. Look at the clothes, look at the dish powder in the sink. No. Just take responsibility for what you did not do, own up to it, and then you can de-escalate that conflict.
Instead of flipping the
script.
Now you got a whole argument going on. Mm-hmm. Now you got to call Lieutenant Carlson to come over because you done said something she hit you with the style.
Yeah. Instead of involving me, go ahead and have a conversation. Get all the information out so where y'all can surely say. And what we don't realize is, when we value our relationships, the person that we're going to spend our life with, to not flip the script. I've been on calls where you get separated, get information from the plane, get information from the man. They will talk and say, this is up. But she forgot to tell the report how she agitated. You go in the room by herself, drinking with his friend, going to the she tell me, tell me when that room, your father, back and forth. Tell me what you really did. Now, trying to be there for y'all problem. So I can't follow. Show her that. Right. Awesome. Responsibility. It can't be that. You can decide to stay here, relax. Y'all can work, and I thank you. You kept that, kept poking that. Every time you poke at somebody, what are you going to do? Who's respond?
As you know what? That I wonder, is there like a percentage, or do you guys come up with the numbers of how many calls you get like that where agitator is the one that actually ended up calling the police because something happened? Whereas if they wouldn't have been the agitator, it would have never became a conflict, and where they could have talked, and it could have been resolved. So I wonder, is there any data?
This data, our victim advocate sheet, so with all our cases. And it's I probably need to look at that myself too, because that is to see where it escalated and what happened to where it got to that. So, some things can be worked out. It might be to the point where it's not a need to call. But even when it's a need to call us, you got too far to hand because the person comes out left out from whoever party to say, all right, look, we need to fix it. Because it's been got out of hand. Like I said, communication. Have understanding. Do I sit here and our grandparents sat away for us because they had value in their relationship. Our youth should have the value also. We have value, but do our youth have? But we have to educate them to know what the value is. So they don't have value. Yeah, I'm gonna go out here and hurt my friends. You didn't come back home to me. Is that value?
And I think you're on something. So that value is, I think that's key. Like you said, you got to realize that person, like, they have value too. And one of the things that that's in our curriculum, in our fire presentation, even if you got to have that conversation, that tough challenging conversation, don't do it face to face, right? Because now you become defensive, and that's like a punk. Like you about to fight in a boxing match or something, right? We recommend that you sit side by side. Then that, if you're side by side, you're like, okay, you're equal. You know, you two, you're one. Like God created, they become one flesh, right? That's your one flesh. So now you can have a conversation where we're talking. We're not yelling. We're sitting down. We're one. We're a unit. You have to realize you have to have value in your unit, in your union with that person. And I think that would help a lot. I think it goes back to value. Why you're with that person. You know, does that person mean this much? We have a child. What I want my child to model, what I want to see them in their relationship, they grow up. What would they have to pull from? What kind of images would they see? Well, I saw that and I always saw them talk. I always saw them loving one another. I never see them feeling that. Is that what we want to have a child to have, or do we want to have what we want to see, what we see on TV and all that? Ratchet stuff. No. That's not the kind of culture and environment we want to live in. We want to foster a healthy environment for that child.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's the key. Healthy environment. Because there's a lot of chaos, there's a lot of conflict, then we're pouring into our children. And then when our children go out there and do what they see do with us, what they have seen done at home, right, we get mad at them. We want to chastise them. You know, we want to punish them. You know, but they're only doing what they see.
Yeah.
So it's like saying, look, don't do as you see.
That's right.
Even if it's at home, don't you do what you see.
Yes, and I like to add, so if the child does come in the environment like that, does see that, he may grow up to be a positive model for his family because he's seen his dad or his mama going at each other. He may say, "Oh, I'm not going to do that." Right. But you're going to have problems in a marriage, and if he's pushed to a point, that may come back and say, "I saw my daddy do this," and he may respond to it. And I'm not saying he may, but it's just a thought. He may say, and he may back off of it like, "I ain't do that," but still he's around that. So it's like that may be something he want to do now. Thought process. He may respond to it if it gets too much out of him. I'm not saying a child would do that because they saw him on that right, but it's fine to say, "My daddy put her in place right in," but he may say, even though they're around it, that child, that son or daughter don't have to follow that action when they get to they have their babies. But it's still a thought. Some but they can change. Like you said, on the other side, you may have that son grow up say, "Thought I followed it." He may respond with that. She may respond by throwing something because she saw mom throw something. So we look at it, you got children that grew up in a home with that action. You got children that grew up in a home with that. They say, "Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing my parents." So we can't take away from doing it, not doing it. It's hard to say. It's
all about mindset.
Yeah.
Mindset. So we want to make sure that whatever we do, that we do our very best in resolving conflicts peacefully, ladies and gentlemen. Because when you respond in a valid behavior or with valid words, then violence can't take place. And if it does take place, and one person has to go to jail, you're taking one person to jail. It's hard enough with both parents, and so now you're going to reduce it down to one parent. That's even tougher. And especially in today's time, we're talking about economically, spiritually, mentally, emotionally, it takes a toll. Well, we're getting ready to wrap it up here, but if you guys have anything last thing that you want to say or that you want to put out to our audience here, especially during we got COVID-19 that's still taking place. We got Black Lives Matter, a lot of domestic violence, a lot of violence taking place now. Anything you guys want
to? Again, I think like we were saying, being open-minded to all those issues, and being able to think differently, think outside of the box, and realize you can have a conversation with someone, even if you don't agree. And you don't have to be valued to think of somebody just because they think different, right? You don't have to have proof that. Educate yourself as much as possible about the issue and make your own decision. Don't just go with group thinking or herd thinking, because you would have the herd or the group is wrong, right? So being open and honest to have those conversations. Let's de-escalate. Want to address things at the lowest level as possible, so they don't escalate or de-escalate. And like you were saying, let's start in our homes. Let's start with our children, and let's have these conversations. Like, okay, this is what I value. This is what we're about. This is what we believe in, right? And even if somebody disagrees and don't hold our values the same, they have a right to do so, right? And that doesn't mean I value them any less. I don't deride them for having that opinion. We just disagree, right? But everybody goes home after disagree. Yes, sir.
I was next person I know police officers all around the world are being scrutinized for certain acts. As a police officer, I feel this is my like training is to where certain problems, certain guys, if they was adequately trained, they would know how to properly respond to the problem versus going to a dead person without proper justification. I'm not taking away from some calls of service are justified to the fact of the action. A lot of them aren't. I just feel like if a citizen saw someone new, X, I can tell you something. It's a back training. Don't sit here and see the news, see police officers that you can, this community where you soon grew up in 24 years in service. Don't sit here and get mad at me because you saw something. Come to me and say, hey, look, what's your opinion on this? I can see right. That's when you're disagreeing. 9 times out of 10, if I can explain something that took place somewhere else, another state, make you have an understanding, you're going to agree. I'll take training. If you won't disagree because the lack of training show you that would happen. I also did talk, academy, and do advanced training. Is that like the domestic violence conversation? Some things don't require putting my hand on you, and not you putting your hands on me. Talk about it. Is it gonna stop? So, he won't stop. I'm saying that's the best thing for a young couple that's married with children. Getting to a point where y'all can't agree or disagree. It saves face, spare the children. Child don't have to see that. Or the mama don't have to eat the child. You still take the child. That ain't it. Now you got to have a conversation with them. Y'all still got married.
Appreciate you guys.
So I just want to thank you to the same for 24 years of service. Thank you. Thank you for the program. Thank you so much.
And to our participants, you guys know we have a survey that we definitely want you guys to fill out. Also, contact your intervention specialist at some point today and have a conversation with them about conflict resolution as well. And in the ending note, I'll say to all you guys in conflict resolution, I remember I was a little boy. And I was playing with my friends, and none of my friends looked like me. And so all of us, we were going to one of our friends' house. He lived in this big house. I mean, huge. I've never been in the house, and I wanted to go in the house. And so all of the friends, everybody was going into this house. And when it got to me, I was told I could not go in the house. I could not go in. And man, that thing tore me up. I was angry, I was hurt, and I was sad, I was crying. I went crying to my dad. I never forget, he was in the back of it. And he told me, he said, son,
He was in a what?
he was in the back of it. We say back.
Okay.
Yeah, y'all say tobacco, we say back. Okay? And so he was in the back of the field, and he pointed towards our house. He said, son, you see that house over there? I said, yeah. I said, but I want to go in their house. He said, you got your own house. You don't have to be accepted in anybody's house when you have your own house.
Come on.
And so I would tell everybody out there that's watching, I know we got a lot going on in America, but in my opinion, everybody's trying to be accepted into somebody else's house when you got your own house. You can go to your own house and you will be accepted. And I promise you, you got everything in your house they have in their house. Wow. Thank y'all. We appreciate y'all. Tune in next Tuesday, 12 noon, for another edition of Man to Man Fatherhood. We appreciate it.